All right, so we're diving into Chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita today.
The yoga of knowledge?
We pulled out some really fascinating stuff.
Absolutely.
I think this is going to be a good deep dive.
Yeah, I think what's really fascinating is that right off the bat,
Yeah.
the text talks about how this knowledge has been passed down.
Like a chain.
Yeah, through generations, like from the sun god Vivasvan to kings and sages.
It's interesting to think about how that knowledge was preserved in ancient times.
Exactly. It speaks to the importance of lineage
Yeah.
and disciplic succession in maintaining the integrity of the teachings.
But then it says this chain was broken.
Yeah.
And that's why Krishna is revealing this knowledge directly to Arjuna.
Right.
It makes you wonder what led to that break in the first place.
That's a question that scholars have debated for centuries.
Yeah.
Was it deliberate suppression, societal upheaval, or just a gradual fading of understanding?
So like a deliberate hiding of spiritual knowledge, or just the natural ebb and flow of understanding over time?
Right. And it's really fascinating because the Gita doesn't explicitly say,
Right.
but what's striking is the emphasis on the need for this knowledge to be restored.
Okay, now here's where it gets really mind-bending.
Yeah.
Krishna talks about remembering all of his previous births as Ugg and various avatars, while Arjuna doesn't.
Yeah.
How does this idea of reincarnation and divine memory play into the Gita's philosophy?
Well, it really underscores that vast difference between the divine and the human experience of time and existence.
So we all have these past lives, these memories are locked away somewhere.
The Gita definitely points towards that possibility.
Okay.
It's a core concept in Hinduism,
Yeah.
reincarnation, and the idea that we carry these karmic traces
From those previous lives.
right from those previous lives.
Okay.
And so Krishna's perfect memory serves as a contrast to that,
Yeah.
to remind us of the limitations we face as humans.
And this ties into the idea that Krishna appears whenever righteousness declines to restore balance,
Exactly.
like the avatars.
Exactly. It's the concept of divine intervention
Right.
to uphold dharma.
So they're not just stories, they represent a recurring pattern
Exactly.
of divine action in the world.
And I think that's really important for someone engaging with the Gita to consider,
Yeah.
what does it mean for us if this pattern continues?
Okay, let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
Chapter 4 also delves into different paths to liberation.
Right.
We see meditation, breath control, sense control study of the Vedas.
It's a spiritual toolkit.
Yeah.
Each path is a different approach to self-realization tailored to individual temperaments and inclinations.
So someone's drawn to quiet contemplation. Meditation might resonate with them, while someone else might be drawn to the discipline of breath control.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that these paths aren't mutually exclusive.
Oh, interesting.
They can complement and enrich each other. The Gita encourages us to find what works for us.
But Krishna emphasizes that knowing his divine nature is paramount for achieving liberation.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So that's where the concept of transcendental knowledge comes in.
Okay.
It's not just about knowing the stories of Krishna, but truly understanding his nature as the supreme reality.
So deeper than worshiping him as a deity.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness with him,
Okay.
realizing that we are part of this divine consciousness
And through that understanding, we break free from the cycle of birth and death.
and attain moksha liberation.
Okay, so this is all incredibly profound, but I wonder how it translates to our daily lives.
Right.
Is this just about some far-off spiritual goal, or can it impact the here and now?
That's where the Gita gets really practical.
Okay.
It's not just about escaping the world, but transforming our experience within it.
All right, let's unpack that.
Okay.
Chapter 4 clarifies that Krishna isn't bound by the fruits of his actions because he acts without attachment to the results.
Right.
This sounds like a powerful concept.
Yeah.
But how do we even begin to grasp it?
Well, imagine this. You're facing a challenging situation at work. Maybe a difficult project or a demanding boss. How do you usually react?
I get caught up in the stress and worry about the outcome.
Right, but what's the alternative?
I don't know.
How do you act without being attached to the result?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you.
So think of it like this. You still put in your best effort,
Okay.
you fulfill your duties, but you release the need to control the outcome.
So you detach yourself from the anxiety and expectation.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a subtle but profound shift
Yeah.
in perspective.
So it's not about becoming passive, but shifting your focus from the external to the internal.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Yeah.
between action and detachment,
Okay.
recognizing that we can only control our own efforts.
Not the outcome.
Right.
And this is how Krishna operates.
Exactly. He acts out of duty and compassion, not for personal gain.
And by understanding this principle, we can begin to apply it to our own lives, whether it's work-stress relationships or just navigating daily life.
Yeah.
This is where I think the Gita really shines. It takes these lofty spiritual concepts and makes them relevant
To our everyday lives.
to our everyday lives, exactly.
And this idea of surrendering our ego's desire for control is a key theme that runs throughout the Gita.
Okay, but what does surrendering to the divine will actually look like in practice?
So think of it less as blind obedience.
Okay.
And more as a conscious alignment with your dharma, your true purpose.
So acting with a sense of purpose and dedication?
Yes, knowing that our actions are part of a larger cosmic play.
So surrendering to the flow of life.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Trusting that there's a greater intelligence at work.
Yes.
This feels relevant in today's world, where so many of us feel overwhelmed
Absolutely.
by the need to control everything.
The Gita reminds us that true freedom comes not from controlling external circumstances, but from surrendering our ego's grip on reality.
Wow. There's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It feels incredibly liberating.
That's the power of the Gita. It challenges our ingrained ways of thinking. And opens us up to new possibilities.
And we're just scratching the surface here.
We are.
There's so much more to explore in Chapter 4.
Definitely.
And the entire Bhagavad Gita.
Absolutely.
As we wrap up Part 1 of this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm struck by how the Gita seamlessly weaves together these philosophical concepts and practical guidance.
It's not just an intellectual exercise. It's a call to action, a guide for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
And for anyone listening, here's a thought to ponder.
Okay.
If the Gita encourages surrendering control, does that mean we're surrendering our individual responsibility for our actions?
Ooh.
How do we reconcile those two seemingly opposing ideas?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of how the Gita balances individual agency with the concept of surrender.
We'll delve deeper into this and more when we continue with Part 2 of our deep dive.
It's a really important question, and it gets to the heart of how the Gita balances individual agency with the concept of surrender. We'll definitely explore that further as we continue.
Okay, so picking up where we left off, Chapter 4 also touches on how people approach the divine in different ways.
Yeah.
It acknowledges those who worship demigods for material rewards.
Right.
It's interesting how the Gita doesn't condemn this.
Yeah.
It just explains the limitations.
It speaks to the diversity of human desires and motivations.
Right.
Some people are primarily focused on worldly success.
Yeah.
And that's okay. The Gita recognizes those aspirations while also pointing towards a deeper level of understanding.
It's like saying, hey, if you're seeking material gainies, go for it.
Yeah.
But know that true fulfillment comes from something more profound.
Exactly. And that's where the concept of a hierarchy of understanding comes in.
Okay.
The Gita acknowledges different paths while highlighting the ultimate goal of transcending the material realm and connecting with the divine source.
You know, it reminds me of that famous line from the Gita. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge.
Absolutely.
It suggests that this knowledge is the key to unlocking true liberation.
And Chapter 4 offers a variety of ways to cultivate this connection with Krishna.
Right.
It's like a spiritual buffet, offering different practices to suit different tastes.
We see meditation breath control study of the Vedas.
Right.
It seems like the Gita recognizes that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to spiritual growth.
Precisely what matters is finding a practice that resonates with you.
Yeah.
That helps you deepen your understanding and connection with the divine.
Okay, so let's circle back to that question about individual responsibility.
Okay.
If we're surrendering to the divine will, does that mean we're off the hook for our actions?
That's where the concept of nishkama karma becomes really important. Remember, it's about acting without attachment to the results, not about becoming passive or irresponsible.
So we still have a duty to act to make choices, but we detach ourselves from the ego's need to control the outcome.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between effort and surrender.
Okay.
We still play our part.
Yeah.
But we recognize that the ultimate outcome is not solely in our hands.
So how does this apply to the choices we make in our lives? Does surrendering to the divine will mean we just sit back and let things happen?
Not at all. It's about aligning our actions with our dharma, our true purpose. Think of it like this. You're still the captain of your ship.
Okay.
But you're navigating with the awareness that there are larger currents and forces at play.
So it's not about giving up control, but about recognizing the limits of our control and surrendering to a higher intelligence.
Precisely. It's about trusting that there's a bigger picture unfolding, even if we can't always see it.
And that trust allows us to act with greater freedom and clarity.
Yes.
It's almost like a paradox. By surrendering control, we gain a deeper sense of agency and purpose.
That's the beauty of the Gita. It reveals these profound truths that challenge our conventional ways of thinking.
Right.
And it encourages us to constantly question, to delve deeper into these concepts and apply them to our own lives.
Speaking of delving deeper, Chapter 4 also emphasizes the importance of learning from those who have already attained liberation.
Right.
It talks about approaching a spiritual master with humility and seeking their guidance.
It highlights the value of mentorship on the spiritual path.
Yeah.
We don't have to figure everything out on our own.
Right.
There are those who have walked this path before us and can offer invaluable insights and support.
It's like having a seasoned guide when you're exploring unfamiliar territory.
Exactly.
They can help you navigate the challenges and avoid potential pitfalls.
And the Gita encourages us to approach these teachers with an open mind.
Yeah.
And a willingness to learn.
It's about surrendering our ego's resistance to guidance.
Right.
And embracing the wisdom of those who have gone before us.
And I think this principle applies to all areas of life, not just spirituality.
Yeah, that's true.
We can all benefit from seeking mentors in our chosen fields, those who can share their experience and wisdom.
As we move towards the end of Chapter 4, we see Krishna urging Arjuna to cut through his doubts and fight armed with the knowledge he's received.
Right.
This feels like a powerful call to action, not just for Arjuna on the battlefield, but for us as well.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that true knowledge empowers us to overcome our inner conflicts and face the challenges of life with courage and determination. And just as fire burns away firewood, the knowledge Krishna imparts is meant to burn away the karmic baggage that keeps us bound to suffering.
It's like he's saying, don't get bogged down in analysis or doubt. Take this knowledge and put it into action.
Exactly. It's about integrating these teachings into our lives, not just intellectually understanding them.
Right.
It's about transforming our understanding into action and to a way of being in the world.
So Chapter 4 seems to be guiding us towards a holistic approach to liberation.
Yes.
One that encompasses both our inner and outer worlds.
Precisely.
It's about aligning our thoughts, words, and actions with a higher purpose.
And this alignment is an ongoing process, a journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth.
It's interesting to consider, then, how our understanding of this knowledge might evolve over time. If the Gita is a living, breathing text, could our interpretations of these teachings also change and grow as we do?
That's a really insightful observation. It suggests that the pursuit of knowledge isn't about reaching a fixed destination, but rather about embracing the ongoing process of learning, unlearning, and relearning.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like the Gita itself is on a journey evolving along with our collective understanding.
And that brings us to another intriguing point.
Yeah.
The question of why this knowledge might have been hidden or forgotten at some point in history.
Yeah.
Why would this ancient wisdom be veiled or obscured?
You know, that's something I've been pondering as well. Was it deliberate suppression or just the natural ebb and flow of knowledge over time?
It's a question that scholars have debated for centuries. Some believe it was intentionally kept secret to protect it from misuse, while others suggest it was lost due to societal upheavals or a decline in spiritual understanding. You know, it's also possible it was never truly hidden, but simply became less accessible as the world changed and people's priorities shifted. It really makes you think about how the transmission of knowledge is influenced by so many factors, both internal and external.
That's so true. It highlights the interplay between individual understanding and the collective consciousness of a society.
Right.
It's almost like the availability of this knowledge ebbs and flows depending on humanity's readiness to receive it.
It's a fascinating concept, and it raises the possibility that there are other hidden or forgotten wisdom traditions out there waiting to be rediscovered.
Okay, now that is really intriguing.
Yeah.
It suggests that there's always more to learn, more to explore, more to uncover.
Exactly. The pursuit of knowledge is a never-ending adventure.
And the Gita, with its timeless wisdom, can serve as a compass and a guide on this extraordinary journey.
Yep.
As we conclude part 2 of our deep dive, I'm struck by the sheer depth and complexity of the Bhagavad Gita.
It is.
We've covered so much ground, from divine intervention to the hierarchy of understanding, from selfless action to the surrender of the ego, and yet I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
Indeed, the Gita is a vast ocean of wisdom.
Yeah.
And each exploration reveals new depths and insights.
But one thing that stands out for me is the Gita's emphasis on the transformative power of knowledge. It's not just about accumulating information,
Right.
but about integrating this knowledge into our lives.
Allowing it to shape our thoughts,
Yes.
actions, and ultimately our very being.
It's a call to awaken to our true nature and to embrace the possibility of liberation, not just in some distant future,
Right.
but here and now in the midst of our everyday lives.
Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial question that I think we should explore further in part 3.
Okay.
If true liberation is attainable in this lifetime, as the Gita suggests,
Yeah.
what does that actually look like? How do we know if we're on the right path?
Yeah.
What are the signs of spiritual progress?
Those are great questions, and I'm eager to dive into those and more as we continue our deep dive into Chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. Stay tuned. All right, jumping right back into our deep dive of Chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
We've been exploring this idea of liberation, but it's a bit of a mystery, isn't it?
It is.
What does that actually look like in practice?
That's a question that has fascinated spiritual seekers for centuries. There's no checklist or anything.
Right.
But the Gita offers some clues. It's not just about reaching some far-off destination,
Okay.
but transforming our experience in the here and now.
So what signs might indicate someone is on the right track? Are we talking about sudden enlightenment?
It's likely a combination of both.
Okay.
The Gita talks about the gradual burning away of our karmic baggage through knowledge and detached action.
Right.
But it also hints at these moments of profound insight where the illusion of separation falls away and we experience a glimpse of our true nature.
So not necessarily about shifts in our external circumstances,
Right.
but a transformation of our inner world.
Exactly. The Gita reminds us that true liberation comes from within.
Okay, but how do we even begin to untangle ourselves from that ego? It seems so deeply ingrained in our way of being.
Think of it like a sculptor chipping away at a block of stone,
Okay.
gradually revealing the beautiful form hidden within.
Yeah.
The Gita offers us the tools.
Yeah.
Knowledge, selfless action, meditation, devotion.
Okay.
It's up to us to put those tools to work.
So is this process of liberation something that happens overnight? Or are we talking about a lifetime, maybe even multiple lifetimes of work?
The Gita suggests that true liberation is attainable in this lifetime.
Okay.
But it's not a passive process.
Right.
It requires effort, dedication, and a willingness to constantly challenge our limited perceptions.
So it's a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely. And the beauty of the journey is that there's no one right path.
Yeah.
The Gita offers different approaches, different practices, recognizing the diversity of human experience and temperament.
So whether someone's drawn to meditation or devotion or selfless action or the study of scriptures, there's a way for them to connect with this wisdom.
Exactly. And the beauty of this wisdom is that it's always there waiting to be discovered. Even if we've strayed from the path,
Yeah.
even if we've lost sight of our true nature, the Gita reminds us that it's never too late to return,
Right.
to reconnect with that inner spark of divinity.
This whole idea of liberation being attainable in this lifetime is incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
It suggests that we aren't just victims of fate,
Right.
that we have the power to shape our own destiny.
That's one of the most profound messages of the Gita. It reminds us that we're not just puppets on strings, but co-creators of our reality.
And through the choices we make, the actions we take,
Right.
we have the power to break free
Yes.
from the cycle of suffering.
And awaken to our true nature.
So it's not about waiting for some external force to save us, but about taking responsibility for our own liberation right here, right now.
Precisely. And the Gita doesn't shy away from the challenges of this journey.
Right.
It acknowledges the doubts, the fears, the inner conflicts that we all face.
But it also reminds us that we have the tools,
Yeah.
the wisdom and the inner strength to overcome these obstacles.
Right. It's a call to action.
Right.
Call to step into our full potential and embrace the possibility of a life free from suffering.
And as we wrap up our deep dive
Yeah.
into Chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, I'm left with a sense of awe and inspiration. This ancient text offers us a profound roadmap for navigating the complexities of life.
And for awakening to our true potential.
It's been an incredible journey exploring this chapter with you.
Likewise.
And for everyone listening, I encourage you to keep diving deep.
Yes.
Explore the Bhagavad Gita, reflect on its teachings, and see how they resonate with your own life.
Yeah.
What insights have you gained from Chapter 4?
Right. What questions have emerged for you?
Remember, this ancient wisdom is a gift, a guiding light on your unique path to self-discovery and liberation.
And remember, the journey itself is the destination. It's about embracing the process of growth, the inevitable challenges, and the moments of profound insight that illuminate our path.
Keep seeking, keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep diving deep.
Absolutely.
Until next time, may the wisdom of the Gita continue to inspire and guide you.